It was always debated. It really was. I mean, for a long period of time, and it's still debatable, is it not? Whether or not baseball is successful here in South Florida. Would you say? I mean, the only people so far that I think it's been really successful for were Laurie and Sampson.
Yes.
Who cashed in billions. Everybody else has left here kicking and screaming, have they not? The son-in-law and Pops, who, have went from buying Day-Glow Jesus paintings to all of a sudden he's in the bidding at South Beach for a Van Gogh.
Exactly.
It's an original there, Jeff. Okay.
The time. Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
A very pleasant good morning, everybody, on this Degenerate Friday edition of the program. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubitz with you here on South Florida Live and with you until 9 o'clock. The usual festivities will apply to today's program. We'll be speaking later on with the Greek, who will give us a couple of selections. Been hot on Major League Baseball, the Greek, and it was interesting on Mike Mayo's lunchbox to run into a friend of the Greek who validates the fact that the Greek stories are all true and that he may not even be remotely close to embellishing any of them. That, if anything, he's underselling the peculiar nature of his lifestyle when it comes to degenerate gambling, including those sessions at that underground casino there on Canal Street, or wherever it was that he was going when he was like filthy rich and had everything going in his life. And there he is, submerging himself underground at some knockoff Gucci shop where you had to go through like 6 cellar doors, and then you walk by a scene that looked like it came out of the Deer Hunter, right, where they're playing Russian roulette with, and they just waved you casually. Okay, yeah, oh, he's going downstairs to play roulette. Okay, good. And then he's figuring he's going to get a fair shake in a casino game under those circumstances. There's a pretty good chance by the time you get back up to the ground level, you're probably not going to have any cash on you, whether you gamble it away or not. Would you say that that's
exactly
a fair assessment of those kind of situations? Usually not going to be favorable to the player. I doubt that you're leaving there with a big score. And if you are, there's a pretty good chance you don't make it home. But anyway, the Buddha was at one of the restaurants. He is a manager of Burton Max's, one of the restaurants we visited this week, which yesterday was a spectacular. You talk about a food coma, Lubie. You took home like a ton of food, enough to feed a family of 16.
You guys didn't want it. Like, you got your own burger that you meant to eat, but they brought out so much food there wasn't room for you to eat.
I couldn't even take a bite of it there. No.
They kept bringing out food.
Ribs and chicken wings and just about everything. Well, what a great spot that is. Gilbert's on 17th Street. If you're looking for a place, and there are a zillion places there, and a lot of very good quality places and choices that you can make to eat in that area around the convention center and with the bridge and everything, and just off a Federal Highway. Gilbert's outstanding. I love Lenore, man. She is great. She always gives you a look like we'll say something that is a little out of the ordinary, and she'll just give you the look like, really? You think we're growing those sweet potatoes in the back here? It's like, it's just a figure of speech there, Lenore. She's great, man. I love that woman.
She's classic.
Fantastic. Good food. And sat in just stunned disbelief as she watched Mayo put down some of that stuff. That was incredible. Anyway, and Mike will join us later on. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, who has to be all excited. We did give him a winning daily double to open up the Saratoga meet. He said, hey, you got to play the 5775, 5775. And there it was to open a meet, 5-7. Did I have 10 cents on it, Louis? No, not a cent, not a penny. I know that I would have been broke years ago. I mean, I was broke years ago, but I would have been a broken man by now if I had any of these accounts working. I used to have the Autotote account. That was real old school. Long before people were doing everything punching up on phone apps, there was a company called Autotote, which I'm wondering if that account is still active. I haven't used it in like 10 years. You think they just keep that open knowing that you're coming back if you're a sick degenerate?
Yeah, probably.
And I kind of liked it. I preferred it to, just thumbing, up your bets on the phone. I'm sure that that's far more convenient than waiting for somebody to answer the phone. You could bet right up until the time that they broke from the gate. But you actually called a person and got them on the other end of the phone. I think you could do it yourself also. But it was much more fun to just call in the bet. And what was great was they would read it right back to you. So they'd say you want 20 to win on a 7, you want a $10 exacta box 7-5, you want 7-5 all and pick threes, and they would read it back to you so that they had it on tape. This way, that was like their proof that you weren't going to call back in and go, wait a minute, I had 20 to win on the 3. I had a buddy that was a little bit bizarre, and he tended to get overly. Are you inclined to embrace the emotional gambler, Lubie? You don't gamble, so it must look really bizarre when a guy is like whining and crying for hours after a bet was made and then you lost. And
I was gonna say you guys lament, but I don't know if I've only been around you guys, and the professor doesn't really do any of that. He actually
he just moves on, turns the page. Yeah,
the Greek isn't that guy. You guys,
Greek usually wins. That's the problem with the Greek is that you can't really put him in this category because
he wins a lot.
I think he's ahead lifetime. This kid.
You guys will lament, but you guys want to move on to the next race, to the next game, to the next challenge. So yeah, I don't know. I haven't been around the guys that fucking lose it.
Well, you would make so many bets. I mean, you'd be calling this number like over and over again. In fact, people that I was with at the time, I think I went through a series of different girlfriends at that time, and they all knew exactly what I was doing because I forget my exact account number. It's been so long. But they knew if I was calling in like 147795 that I was engaged in this activity. It wasn't like I was calling some jeweler to buy them a ring. But you'd make so many bets. I mean, you're going screen to screen from your own television set, essentially. And in some cases, we had more than one TV plugged into different races. And, you would forget what you bet. And this guy would call in screaming, regaling, the person that was on the other end of the phone and go, I had 20 to win on a 3. It's not in my account. Where is it? And then he would actually have to go back literally to the videotape, the audio tape in this case. And he would listen back to himself making the bet and go, I guess it was the wrong track. You know of whom I speak. I can't believe it. Had a little bit of a Jackie Gleason kind of thing to him. I can't believe it. Believe it, you're a loser. I mean, and if you won money on this race, it won't be long before your account is empty anyway. So what's the difference? You should just call up and say, hey, could you do me a favor? Could you empty my account and just take the money out and throw it in the street?
Honestly, just save
Give it to some poor people. Autotote, yeah, you would call in and actually go, I want 20 to win on a 3. I want this, I want that. And, somebody would answer the phone. It was great. It was more personal. It almost felt like you were at the track that way. Mm. And then there was the frustration. There were certain, I guess you would say they were parimutuel clerks of sorts, but there were certain people, and this happens when you're live at the track, although to a lesser extent now because most people use the self-betting machines. And this way, if you do make a mistake, it's on you, which I've done. And, what can you do at that point? Well, shoot, I can't believe I punched Delaware Park. I meant to bet Saratoga. And it happens. I mean, you're going to make your share of mistakes. It's always weird, too, when you go to cash a ticket and you think it's worth like $160 and it just keeps coming back. This race is not official yet. This race is not official yet. You're like, what do you mean it's not official? I just watched it. They put the prices up. And then you look at your ticket and go, oh, fuck. I can't believe I fucked myself. That's the true definition. Only degenerates can really understand what it really means to go fuck yourself. Because I've done it. It's not a physical thing. Strictly mental. Strictly a mental error. But there was a certain, you had that track feel when you were actually calling in a bet and talking to somebody. But just like at the racetrack, there were certain tellers that when they got on the phone, there was this one old lady, and I'm sure she was a delightful person. But nonetheless, as soon as she answered the phone, and you would be waiting, and it would be ringing, and the horses are getting closer and closer to the gate, and you're thinking, answer the fucking phone, answer the fucking phone. And then you would hear her voice, and she would go, teller number 106.5.
She was slow.
Oh, no. You would immediately hang up and redial and hope to get somebody else.
Get someone else.
It was true. I used to have to do that. Autotote. I don't know if they're still in action here. Sheldon G might know, but I don't know if he's up yet because it's like 4:13 in the morning there in Las Vegas, where the over/under on temperature today, Lubie. If you're in Las Vegas, you can go right to Caesar's Palace and bet over/under 117 and a hook.
Jesus Christ.
117 and a hook is the over/under on the temperature today. What will be the high in Las Vegas? Now, where exactly do they measure that? That might be one of those ones that's a little bit difficult to verify. Are you just taking the word of some meteorologist on that kind of thing? If you're betting the temperature, the high temperature today in Las Vegas, can you really do that? I don't know. Do they have a place where you can book that bet?
Oh, I thought you were being honest. It makes sense.
Supposed to hit like 118 today, Lubie. 118 is the predicted high, Las Vegas, Nevada. 118? Why don't you stick your head in the toaster oven?
Exactly. What
the microwave. But it's a dry heat, see? So, I mean, you don't schwitz. Your face turns like a tomato.
Just melt.
You look like something on a Campbell's label. Incredible. All right. It was Black Wednesday. We recovered from that. We have baseball on the slate today. And, of course, Saratoga opened up yesterday with a 5-7 double and a bunch of bombs late on the card. Kind of made for some very attractive payoffs if you happen to be playing all tickets in the last couple of races. I think you came away in pretty good shape. There was like a $44 winner in the ninth race on the card and then an $18 winner. Supposedly, though, they were waiting for some inclement weather, which has been afflicting the entire country. Some real ugly weather was supposedly going to be hitting the New York area, and they claimed that they were rushing the post times or moving them up a little bit, but it didn't seem like they were actually making that happen because there would be 0 minutes to post and the horses were still in a paddock. So I don't know if they did that. By the way, my friend Frank Miramonti really knocked it out of the park yesterday. Did a great job calling the races.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good job, Frank.
He had a couple of days where he was calling as a fill-in guy at Saratoga. I want to say maybe even prior to last year. I'm assuming that was somewhat of an audition when he was filling in for John Imbriel last year a couple of times and did get the job at Saratoga. So this is a guy literally that was calling in stretch calls on, what was that, like Score Phone or something? Do you remember those days, Lubie?
I know of you guys talking about it. I don't know of any.
You would call a 900 number and you would get like the replay of the 4th at Yonkers. And there was a guy actually sitting in some boiler room somewhere that was recreating the race. And that was Frank's first job of any significance calling races. He moved from California to here to work in some boiler room. And he was recreating races from around the country, stretch calls. I think the business might have even been called Stretch Call. I wasn't inclined to, use that service. So, what level of sick degeneracy is that? Where you're calling a 900 number and paying like, I don't know what it was, like $1, and you're getting some guy recreating the call of a race. It's predated where you could just look it up instantly on your phone. I'm not inclined to use that. I don't know. Mayo's big with that, right? With the phone. That's all he does. He don't even go to the windows when he's at the
track using his phone, yes.
A lot of people do that, right? Because you get bonus money. You get, what would it be? I don't want to use a word like kickbacks on this show. You get some money kicked back to you. That's a universal practice, Lubie. Why would the government get upset about possibly slipping a marketing director a couple of bucks as a token of your esteem when he told you he was desperate? I don't want to rehash that case. I sound like Donald Trump, don't I? I do nothing. I was completely unaware of what they were talking about. These allegations are absurd. I think I had Jack Smith as the prosecutor in that case, young Jack Smith. What a bulldog. When they don't even say hello, or acknowledge your existence, they just look at you like you're a piece of dirt. You're thinking, this probably isn't going to go well. All right, now Wimbledon yesterday, Vandrousova. I think her name is Marketa Vandrousova, lanky left-hander. She managed to make her way into the finals of the women's side of the Wimbledon tournament by beating Elena Svitolina, the wife of our man, Gael Monfils, who I admired his game greatly, and had a baby like a year ago and came back on the circuit. One of a few women that have done that. Caroline Wozniacki, believe it or not. Caroline Wozniacki was going to marry Rory McIlroy. He left her at the altar. Did Jimmy Cephalo do that? Did he leave some woman at the altar one time?
No idea. I know he's been married to his wife for decades. Now their children, I think, are grown.
Sounds highly uncharacteristic of a guy with the character that was exemplified by the great Jimmy Cephalo.
I don't know if he did that. He's been married to
I seem to remember a story where he was going to get married, and all of a sudden he walked out. I admire that greatly. I think
don't you?
it's a movie you could genuinely reconsider. Well, if anybody would know that, it would be the Greek, right? I don't want to bring that up, though.
They got married at least. But don't you? I always think that's weird. I feel like that's like a movie thing. Like once you put 20 grand or 40 grand into a wedding, like don't you?
No. Who's putting 40 grand in a wedding? Only you would do something like that.
Most people nowadays do.
By the way, do you regret spending the 30 grand on a wedding now?
We went there last week. I don't regret it, but it would have been much better.
Wouldn't it be nice to have the 30 grand? Yeah.
Yeah. Are you kidding me? We could have done so much. Are you fucking kidding me? With all the stuff we want to do to the house.
Yeah.
30 grand would go so far. Shirley and I both agree, but I don't regret it. It was a wonderful day.
You can't look back in anger, my friend.
Well, no, it worked out fine. We knew what we were doing. We had a house at the time. It's not like we're some of these people that are in apartments trying to find a way to get 150 grand to put down.
Yeah.
Like, we at least had that to help us. But I tell others as a cautionary tale, you don't have to do it.
I'm
doing it.
I'm telling you. Let me see. I spent the hotel. I mean, does the hotel room count?
Yeah,
You're talking about spending money on a wedding because I got married the first time in Key West.
Okay.
And there was no ceremony. My wife and I got married in the room privately by ourselves. She was a notary, so she was able to go ahead and make the official pronouncement, and it was legal and everything. And once you have the license, that's pretty much it, isn't it? I mean, do you really need a ceremony to declare that you're going to be with each other forever, which obviously is one of the biggest lies in the universe, is it not? Till death do you part. How many people make it that far?
Not many.
Percentages have to be extremely low right now, right? Is it 50% of marriages end in divorce, or is that number higher?
Now it's higher now. I mean, in the 90s, it's 50%. I'm sure it's in the 60s, 60 percentile.
Okay. So 60% of the people are absolutely kidding themselves when they say, I'm going to honor this commitment until death do us part. And then, you can't count the guys that just, decided, hey, let me just jump off the Dania Pier. It's better than being with this woman. Or vice versa. I mean, I guess women could see it the same way. That one, I mean, in terms of actual marital fees, Lubie, and expense on the wedding, there were no people there. It was just, the woman I married and me. We got married in the hotel room there at Key West. I think we might have been at the Pier House. And is that still prominent, the Pier House? Yeah, I would think so, right? That was a fabled destination in Key West.
No idea.
And there was no ceremony. I think we went out. There was a restaurant down there that I don't know if Mayo would even remember this one. But it was called, I believe, the Buttery. Anybody remember the Buttery in Key West? It was, at the time, probably the best of what was available there. It wasn't super expensive or anything. I mean, it was very Keys-esque, but it was, nice high-end kind of Cafe Max type of food. Something that you would expect to get at, or Cafe Seville, whatever, you would expect to get at a very good restaurant. Fresh seafood and the whole thing. So does that count, Libby? I mean, the total tab on that couldn't have been in the thousands. It had to be like less than 400.
Our rehearsal dinner was more than that. Our rehearsal dinner
Who needs to rehearse? You know what you're going to do. Do you really need to go out there and put that stupid monkey suit on?
You don't need any of this shit. I mean, whatever. I think it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. Yeah.
I also thinks it's ridiculous.
Did you have a big? Yeah, you had a big wedding the first time. You're 0 for 2. Oh well, no, you're 1 for 2.
Not over 2. I'm going
1 for 2. This one, I think you're going to Disney.
Do whatever the fuck she wants. I'm going nowhere. I will die in this house. I'll say that right.
The only way to get you out of there is to exhume your body after you've passed, I think. Yeah.
That's on her.
All right, second time, it cost me $75 plus the license. I was in Las Vegas, and the actual wedding cost was $75. That was the fee. You had to pay the Elvis impersonator to take off the Elvis wig and put on some kind of a priest uniform. And they were more than accommodating in that regard. And then what were the choices there? You've lost that loving feeling. This was the musical. And the guy literally had like a little cassette tape. That's what he was going to play the music on. That was the band.
I just love that.
Did you have a band at that second wedding?
No, I don't do. I just did DJs. The bands. We like dancing a lot. And to me, it's hard to like dance when you have a band. They don't play so many kinds of music, and it's sort of structured. Like, sure, the first time her family is from the island, so they like dancing, and this time Shirley and I love dancing, and her family loves dancing, and all my people love dancing. So we had a DJ, and I gave him a strict playlist because I don't trust DJs because they futz around a lot. So,
all right. Mayo said he also had a big wedding, I think.
He had a real, okay, I don't want to say real fake.
Right.
He had a big wedding, yes.
How many people out there had a big-ass wedding?
Most people. What do you mean?
And now regret spending
Perk's
that money.
brother is in his 50s, okay? Perk's brother's in his 50s. Already was married for 25 years.
Oh, God.
Got divorced. Was single for 2 years. Is already married. The wedding he went to, right?
Yeah.
And they do live overseas. It wasn't like they had a destination wedding. They do live overseas. However, his second wedding, after being married 25 years, they're both in their 50s, and they just had another massive wedding. I'm like, what the fuck would you have a second massive wedding? You're in your 50s.
It's like the debate whether you wear the white dress if you're the woman and you're getting married for a second time. You fucked it up the first time. Shouldn't you just wear black? That would be the way to go. All right, well, we're going to get out of this. I mean, I had a whole list of things here I was going to get into, but we got into nothing, of course. But we will get into it with the Greek. It's a Degenerate Friday, so we can kind of operate any fashion that seems fitting of losing and separating yourself from your cash. The Wimbledon finals, men's semifinals are today. Alcaraz and Medvedev. Medvedev is being completely overlooked in this one, Lubie. What do you think? I mean, Daniil Medvedev, a former number one player in the world, maybe rounding back into form where he can make another run at that. And Alcaraz is inclined to lose like a set, maybe even two. So would you take a shot that Medvedev wins a set or two? What do you think, Louis? You're getting a nice price on both of those propositions. If you want to bet Alcaraz in 4 sets, you're getting plus 280. Alcaraz in 5 sets, plus 475.
I think Medvedev's legit, right? He's like top.
Medvedev's a great player, no question. Yeah.
4 seeds.
He could even win this. It's not inconceivable. I don't think he will, but
I'd go 5 sets. A lot of these times you see these wars when top 10 guys get together in semis.
The common number I think would be say Alcaraz in 4. Yeah. Alcaraz in straight sets is plus 180. So I mean it's very marginal there. So if Medvedev can take 1 set, you're getting almost 3-1. If you believe that Alcaraz is a superior player, which he probably is at this point, but you never know. Medvedev playing very well. No odds. I don't see any odds posted on the other match. Djokovic and Jannik Sinner, who, does Sinner win a set against the Joker? Do you have any chance to beat the Joker? 4-time defending champion if you discount the year that he was not allowed to play. 4 straight he's won. 4 out of the last 5, and the only one he missed was the year that they wouldn't allow him in there because he didn't want to get the vaccine. All right, let's get to the Greek. And then we have the professor coming up, another big board on today's show. Some selections, I'm sure, although what's left? Any USFL still left? Canadian Football League action.
He's still doing Aussie rules. I think he still has some Aussie rules.
He doesn't get into the Canadian Football League? He doesn't like the Argonauts over the Alouettes? No? Alouette, gentil Alouette. He'll be singing that all day long if he gets 5.5 with the Alouettes and makes a score there. All right, now coming back in a moment on a Degenerate Friday. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:27.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
I like when the guys on the CBS pregame show, you
Yeah.
got like Boomer and all of the crew there, they're picking games without the point spread. And then
Yeah,
they're unanimously, on the side of the favorite.
Picking games without a point spread is like telling somebody that you banged the girl last night and she was a hooker. I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Got home last night, yeah.
We now return to the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday just unfolding here on South Florida Live. Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. We welcome in a good friend of the program and just a great all-around American. And it turned out, and this is always good because you never know if it's going to be the case, where not only does a guy validate the fact that this guy is the stuff of which legends are made, but that he's probably underselling the level of legendary status that he should enjoy. And we ran into Greek, your good friend Buddha, the other day on one of our efforts when we were doing the Mike Mayo Lunchbox Show, and he's managing one of Burt Rappaport's restaurant, Burt and Max's, and doing a great job over there. Greek, how are you? Good to have you on the program.
I'm good, getting ready for football season. Yeah, Buddha is a great guy. He runs Burt Max's, stick to the ground.
They were packed, man. They were packed.
Hey, it was lunch at
with
12.
happy customers.
I did see. I listened to the show for a while. He sent it to me. You guys were talking about people bitching about $1 for cheese, and if that's the case, they shouldn't be going out.
Yeah,
and bringing in cakes and
yes,
a cake cut. I mean, like I cannot believe that people do stuff like that, but that's our society, and it's just crazy. It's it is what it is, but it's just. It blows my mind that people will say stuff like $1 for cheese. How come? But that's just life.
Say what? Yeah, exactly.
People would get pissed.
The same guy that just lost 200 on the Jets, is complaining about $1 for a slice of Swiss cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot for me ever to say something.
Yeah.
And there's been times where I know I was getting totally ripped off. It depends on my mood. I was at the cigar bar by the Wynn, not in the Wynn, across the street, a high-end cigar bar, and I got a couple cigars and a cappuccino. And I forget the name of the place. There's a high-end place, special cigar place, but the cigars were like $12 in Florida, and I got the bill was $127.
Oh my God!
And I looked at the girl and I said, "Are you joking me?"
Yeah.
He goes, "No, the cigars are like $40 there."
Oh my God!
And the cappuccino was like $23. I said, "Oh,
beautiful." Yeah. You should have just sat at the blackjack table and
exactly.
waited for the girl to come by and said, "Do you sell cigars?" Do they still have the cigarette girl, in Las Vegas?
I don't have a cigarette.
No, but that's like another time I was in a club with, I don't know, it was like 5 in the morning. I got 4 Evian, and I gave the girl 100, and I said, "Keep it." She goes, "Flick, it is 100."
4 waters. Oh my God!
For water.
That's highway robbery, no doubt about it. Well, I mean, in certain casino environments, you're expecting to get robbed like that. And if they're not connected with one of the hotels, even more likely that Lou's Cigars across the street there at the Imperial Palace was probably going to choose the price on a couple of Cuban seed tobacco numbers there. I don't mean to bring this up because I know you don't like it when we do.
Every time.
I'm just curious. I mean, because I'm thinking you probably had kind of a lavish wedding, no? When you got married, did you go for the big ceremony, or did you just run off somewhere and have a glass of wine and get married in Lake Tahoe?
No, we had 2 ceremonies. We had a very nice wedding at the Brazilian Court in Palm Beach, and that was on Friday night. And then Sunday we had they closed New York Prime for us, and we had 100 friends there.
Wow. Okay.
Greek went small and still went big.
That was a cozy,
with 100 people.
And you know what? I got to say, honestly, we made money on our wedding.
Oh,
My
good for
friend David-
you.
Oh yeah, wow. Oh, that's right. You have rich
I
friends.
was so about, and she has that. Yeah, good
Yeah.
for you. Yeah, good for you. All
Oh
right.
yeah, they came in strong. We went well over the over under. Jerry Lewis called me.
Tell us,
How do you do it, kid?
They have the board.
We rang the bell every time somebody gave a Gino. Like, whoa, Gino.
I'm always wondering if I gave enough. Yeah, that's good. You have friends in high places, so
Most places you should try to cover your place. But there are some weddings I went to years ago where I was like, I can't go. Like I went to a couple of weddings at Harry Cipriani's in New York, and it's like $900 a person. You can't cover that.
no. That's a little rich.
I bring the hooker with me.
What percentage would you say? I mean, not to get in your own situation, but what percentage would you say of the people that had these pricey Palm Beach, Boca Resort type of weddings are still together?
I don't think that the money, honestly, I think sometimes you want me to be dead serious. I think the more money stay longer.
Oh, that's funny.
Because it's a lifestyle. I think the guy looks at it like I got to give her a half, and the woman looks like I'm getting older. Who's going to want me? I think
It's my last shot.
I mean, if you want me to be real, I'll be real.
You're betting with your last 100. Exactly.
Marriage is difficult. Everybody knows it. I don't know what's tougher, marriage or sports gambling. About the same.
But, you know where my vote lies.
I was going to say, that's
Yeah.
tough
Yeah,
one.
You can brush off the losses in gambling and figure, okay, I can always get more money, but my God.
You have the losses in weddings too if you don't get your ass. And if you get it like I did, then it's like, wow, it's a little tough to come back. It's the bottom of the eighth, you're losing 13-2, and the guy who got up at plate is blind.
Or he's Giancarlo Stanton.
Exactly. Back out.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard. But I'm gonna definitely try to stop by one of the times that you guys do one of those things.
Oh yeah, actually that's true.
Yeah.
I was thinking you could join us at the stream, but that's way more up your way.
Yeah. But you're working. You still have a job in terrestrial media, which is great.
That's a real radio show.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're on an actual radio show, which soon to be extinct, the medium, but nonetheless, you're gonna take it right to the wire.
I don't think radio's going anywhere. I really don't.
All right.
I don't think it's going anywhere. I don't see it. And remember, like with everybody, and this isn't anything with you guys because it's different, but I talk to so many people, and everybody says to me they have a podcast. And what I say to them is, you don't have a podcast, you have a hobby, you're not getting paid.
Sure.
Like a girl bangs 4 guys in a week. You're not a prostitute, you're a whore.
You're looking up to being a prostitute.
You're getting paid, you're a pro. So
interesting distinction.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't get paid, you're not doing anything. You got a hobby. What the hell are you gonna say? I mean, that's what like a guy who flies a plane. Oh, I'm a pilot. No, they aren't. You're rich and you got a plane. Pilot gets paid by get food. Sorry.
It's funny. I mean, people ask me about you, and of course, it was even more common when we were doing a radio show, and you were on with us quite frequently, and then had your own show, and people would say, is all that stuff the Greek says, is any of it true?
100%.
And what was great about me and your buddy Buddha was that not only did we find out that you're not embellishing any of these stories, but that you actually were probably underselling them a little bit. Some of these wild adventures of the Greek when it came to degenerate gambling.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to. Buddha was with me a couple of times, margin of victory, where I took home like 18, 19 on a game. He was next to me smoking his cigars, having $2 on a race. Buddha's a great guy. He's a great guy. He's always happy when you win. We went to Gulfstream Sunday, me and him.
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's what he was saying. And he said, in total amazement, stunned disbelief, he sat there as you cashed like $20,000 worth of tickets. And he had his racing form, and he had his magazine sheets, and he was on the phone personally with Andy Beyer, and he still couldn't cash even a show bet.
And you're betting on like Yankee numbers.
You're betting on names and colors and all kinds of crap.
I'm never going to change when I go to track. I don't go a lot. I go occasionally, and I'll bet 4 long shots every day. And, some days you walk out and you win and some days you lose. But remember, when you're betting like that, I always tell people, if you hit one long shot,
Yeah.
over 6-7 times you go to trap.
Yeah, that's what Dee says.
That's why I'm playing these 5-team baseball parlays, Greek.
That's a little different. 'Cause
I love wadding up $20 bills as opposed to just betting 100 a game and coming away a winner. I'd much rather just wad up a 20 and say, well, I only bet $20 and then throw that away every day because the fucking Mets can't score in the top of the ninth or whatever.
Yeah, you could just say, hey, how about sports betting? That was a good ruling. That means we might get it now.
Yeah, I was gonna. Okay.
Yeah, what happened with that, Greek?
but
I didn't see anything about that. Yeah,
you've been right on this, and it's happened between last week and this week. What happened? I know something with the. I don't know if it's
it was the higher court who they decided that what was ruled was not right. So as of today or last week, Seminole can turn on their sports book. Whether they do or not, they don't know, because there could be another ruling that gets it knocked down. So they may not want to open it and then close it again like they did the last time. But technically now they can open it up. But it's only going to be through the Seminole, and they're going to handle everything. And then it'll be at a couple tracks, Tampa, Kennel Club, Gulfstream, but they got to kick in. But on this ruling, FanDuel or DraftKings will not be in the state of Florida.
That's the thing.
Okay. I mean, how do you see this development? I mean, is it a positive one, or is it the usual Florida finds a way to fuck things up again?
For the people I talk to, I would be shocked if it's not turned down by football season.
Oh, wow. That'd be fucking great.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, why would you not? If they close it 3 months later, you still make tons and tons of money.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, they're seeing the amount. Even in sportsbook in Vegas, not Jersey, but Vegas sportsbook is up almost 28%. And the reason that is because 37 states have betting now. So when guys go to the casinos now in Vegas, years ago, the only guys who bet sports in Vegas was us. But if you went to Vegas, you bet the table game. You got to have to play roulette, craps, blackjack. But now kids and people are betting sports when they're home. So when they go there, they bet it. And sports betting's up 28% in Vegas, and that's rare. It's usually one of the things that they don't make money on. But I think it happens. I don't know when, but I think it does happen.
That'd be freaking great.
Oh, it's insane. And there are a lot of new things that people are doing on a regular basis. I was with a buddy of mine, Big Rich, in Atlantic City, and we're in the sports book there. And, I'm just taking a shot with a 3-4 team parlay just to have some action and some interest in watching baseball. Yeah. And, of course, picking the majority of games that ended up winning and still losing money because of my desire to, self-sabotage by combining everything in a parlay. He is getting texts from his buddy, who he says was a very astute baseball handicapper. And this guy's betting all kinds of absurd shit. He's betting whether, some guy's going to hit a home run, whether so-and-so will have more than 2 hits. Will there be 6 walks in the game or more? I mean, and he was parlaying all of that, which I found like almost impossible, unfathomable to think about hitting these kind of bets.
I mean, the more there is to bet, the worse it is for the gambler.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's better for the casino and the book. And that's what they want to do. And the younger generation likes all that shit because they don't like to watch games and they're so busy, they got to do things and they got to think how they're getting screwed every day. But the more you have things different to bet, you're screwed. Because what you really do, and people don't realize this, I talked about this with my buddy in Jersey, you're betting against yourself sometimes.
Of course.
Like, I'd have a bet on the game, Yankees against the Angels, and then you're going to say, I think Trout's going to hit a home run. He hits a home run, but then you lose the game. I mean, it's Pennywise pound foolish. Bet one way, and that's it. It's like Super Bowl. Almost 27% of people lose on prop bets because they chase that and you chase the odds. And that's what gets everybody, the odds and everything. Like, oh, wow, I could win X. Yeah, and I could bang Kim Kardashian tonight if not going to happen.
Many ways to separate you from your cash, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but I think the more, and that's what they wanted. I remember 10 years ago sitting in a convention in Vegas with these sports bettors and the guys who run casinos, and they were talking about all this stuff. Or maybe 15 years ago that there's going to be a day you can bet on the Downs and this and that, and the public loves it. I mean, and that's what they love to do. There's guys who'll just go to a game and they're just like, hey, I'm going to bet how many points Jimmy Butler's going to have. That's it. I don't want to watch the game. I don't care. And that's what they do. But when you start betting all different foul shots and stuff like that, you're screwed. And I always tell my friends that for years. They don't listen to me. I'll be friends with a guy who will bet 10 games, right? $100. You're not winning 10 games. And if you go 6-4, you just about break even.
Yes.
You're betting one game for $1,000. You really are. And they would look at me like, you're nuts, Greek. I'm like, no, I'm not. I got a 50-50 shot of winning. You don't.
Put all your eggs in one basket. That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And if you're betting, honestly, to break even, don't bet.
Like, what's
Imagine that. You're betting to break even.
You can just not
Like,
bet and
how
break
many
even.
gamblers have you heard say that, Devo, over years? Oh, I just want to get even. Don't bet. That's like me taking a
Be
ground.
one way to get even.
I want a friend. If I want a friend, I'll buy a Cocker Spaniel. I don't want a friend. I'm taking you out to dinner because I want to bang you. In 2 weeks. Our society's crazy. I got to tell you, but I've been getting taken advantage of years, and I'll just keep cutting along.
You have the right approach, Greek. And once again, it was great to hear Buddha validate all of your stories and actually, let us know that you were underselling the level of legend that you've achieved in your lifetime.
Oh, yeah. Look, nobody wants to hear anything good. My father always told me, tell everybody your life sucks and you can't wait to die. He always said. So everybody, life sucks. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, that's the way it is. I mean, what do you want? Nobody wants to hear you won. Every time the
No.
you're like, why didn't I win? I said this on the radio the other day, and they were jamming me up. So I can't believe it. They talked about some guy who want to scratch off for $2 million. I want to win $2 million, not him.
Yeah.
I can spend it so much better.
There's no reason to be happy for the other guy. I mean, he might have been the guy that bought the ticket just before you got into that 7-Eleven.
Exactly.
And you ended up with a brain freeze from a Slurpee and a loss of $20. And this guy's walking away with $2 million. Incredible. All right, Greek, what are you up to? I mean, what's going on? You have any plays or anything? You've been hitting baseball, and it's good to see that you're back in your degenerate mode.
Second half, I've been doing some reading about college football. Second half, though, I would just stay on the hot teams. I'd stay on the Braves. I would stay on Tampa. I think both of these teams are going to still keep winning, 7 out of 10. When they're high favorites, bet the run line. That means that you got to bet them where better odds, but they got to win by 2 runs, but usually they do. Stats prove that. I would stay with the hot teams, and I would say the teams that are losing to keep betting against them. I think the Marlins had a great first half. I give them an A-. Nobody expected what they did, and they did a great job, so hats off to them. And they're getting some better crowds down there. How about Messi coming here, huh? 10,000 for a ticket.
That's crazy.
Well,
they're playing at that stupid
insane
stadium. That's why. Like,
he doesn't look like much either. That's the funny thing. It's not like you see Messi and you're thinking, "Whoa, there's Michael Jordan coming to the court." Looks like a schlep, doesn't he? He looks like some guy that's playing down in Hialeah, and you expect to see him at some high school field early in the morning, going, "Hey, anybody else want to run with us? We need one more guy."
No, yeah, it looks like he works at Home Depot. Like Messi's like Greek. I'm like, Messi? Right? Yeah, it's unbelievable what he's doing. People are selling his jerseys for more than retail that they buy like Burdine
oh my
on
god,
the street. It's crazy.
That's nuts.
And the deal that they put together, that guy who did it is a genius.
Yep.
Every team, is paying part of his salary.
Yep. Yeah, the league.
I like that.
Well,
He's going to end up owning the league.
Yeah, imagine Belichick. You called him up. He said, "Hey, Bill, you got a minute? Yeah, what do you want? We want to sign Aaron Rodgers. You're going to pay some of his salary."
Yeah, we want him to go to the Jets. That's great.
The Jets being on Hard Knocks.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's like the Kardashians doing an ad for birth control. Unbelievable. Are you kidding me?
They'll never top, though, the previous one where our man Mike Westhoff stole a show with his Joe Pesci tirades in front of the team. Here's a mild-mannered guy that we've spoken to a million times. I didn't even know that he used swear words. And then he gets up on Hard Knocks, and every other word is fuck this and fuck that.
I love Aaron Rodgers, though. They say he loves New York, this and that. He was in Green Bay. Elvis was alive. Those people in Green Bay didn't know Elvis died.
It's like they let him out of a maximum
Yeah,
security
exactly.
prison, like they let El Chapo free.
Yeah. Darkness and everything like
Rodgers loves New York.
Yeah.
Rodgers loves New York. He was in Green Bay. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, even if he was in Tampa.
Yeah, Rod Woodson was talking about Green Bay. He was like, the weather was so bad. Everything's dark, brown, and just like terrible. And he's in New York and he loves it. Yeah, I mean, he's doing everything he can. I think the Jets will be okay. They got a very tough schedule. So do the Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm not as convinced that the Dolphins are going to be this wonderful team. So they'll probably win the Super Bowl this year. Lubie is wildly optimistic about it.
If Tua stays healthy, yes. If he doesn't,
that's the whole thing.
you know what I mean? No.
Those are the two big letters at the top of the sports eye chart, though. If.
Yeah.
And you know how dicey of a proposition that is.
No, I don't see him playing the whole season. And I think it's a bad gamble that they made. I still think they should have went after Brady. And I think the NFL's concept now, which is I agree with, win for this year like the Rams did a couple of years ago. It's like playing poker. Throw it all in and try to win, and let's worry about next year. But, yeah, I think the Dolphins, got a good defense. They picked up Ramsey. They got great corners. And, they got some playmakers, obviously, with Waddle and Hill. I wouldn't have traded Gesicki, but they did. I don't understand that trade. But we'll see. Tua stays healthy, they'll be a good team. Can they win 10 games? Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if they can win. The schedule that division plays not only against each other, but then they got to play Dallas and Philly and Kansas City and the Chargers. I mean, they open up with the Chargers.
Yes, on the road.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think the line's 2.5. I think I might take the Chargers, a cigar, and a brunette. Have a good afternoon.
All right, Greek. We'll let you run, baby. You're on fire. Any selections you want to give out, or?
I just said I would stay with the Braves and Tampa, two of the hottest teams in baseball, and wait to see how teams break out. If they're losing, anytime a team loses 3 or 4, keep betting it. So lose 6 or 7 because it will. Watch the Reds in the second half too.
Yeah, very exciting with the Dela Cruz kid. All right, Greek, we love you, man. We'll let you go to work.
Preseason.
All right.
Thanks so much for being with us, my friend. The Greek, ladies and gentlemen. The professor already lamenting the fact that as he logged into the show,
because we have a control on what the Greek says.
The Greek,
of course,
Greek was implying that the Dolphins would have won a championship possibly if they had Tom Brady. I mean, I would imagine that's going to eat up about 20 minutes of the beginning conversation with the professor.
Getting Brady doesn't make it better than
I can't imagine that they would have benefited by having Tom Brady.
Not getting Brady.
A shot Brady, that last season at Tampa Bay wasn't. How did he statistically come out so well when?
Because they were down.
Didn't he lead the league in passing yards or something?
Their defense fell off a fucking cliff. Their offensive line sucked. They couldn't run, so it was him chucking it.
Brady looked like shit, though, to me.
We know when guys chuck the ball, they get a lot of stats. It's called empty stats. That's what Brady fucking did.
Yeah,
he was not good, and their team sucked. No, Brady's
done. We said he was done years ago.
Yes.
When he was inclined to being involved in clown plays, those Jameis Winston type of plays, where the ball goes straight up in the air, is picked off, and then you're not even attempting to make a tackle, but you get trampled by the guy anyway as he goes into the end zone. Such ugliness. All right, we're coming back with the professor here on the Degenerate Friday edition of the Defo Show. Always a lot of fun. We'll have a big board later on at Gambling Gourmet. He never heard of the Buttery in Key West? That was years ago, though. I mean, we're talking like 40 years ago. That place was very popular. So I don't even, the Mayo was like a child in. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 7:52. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in Style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play. when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on in America. And again, if you're feeling like, what the hell is the point of being a billionaire if you're going to, I mean, like, as much as Donald Trump talks about the Justice Department out to get him and witch hunt, here's a real witch hunt. The real witch hunt is Ben Affleck in an Afro wig portraying you in a major movie that is constantly advertised during the Final Four. I would take a New York indictment over this 10 times out of 10 every day of the week and twice on Sunday. If my choices were go to prison for a couple of years over sex with a porn star or having Ben Affleck in a curly wig make you look like, and honestly, this is one of the better looking pictures. He looks like a much bigger asshole than most of the rest of the preview. Like, how you let this happen if you're Phil Knight, how you actively signed up for this if you're Phil Knight, I have no idea. Like, I assume it's just that Affleck and Damon ambushed him with this. Like, he had no idea. He signed off, and then he got to actually see what he's being made to look like. Like, Phil Knight, I mean, hey, look, we all know you have spent your life torturing children in your Chinese factories. And that's going to go down as a much more positive note than this stupid fucking movie. Like, I would much rather have them had left Ben Affleck out and made a movie about what goes on in your Chinese factories than have Ben Affleck make you look like this.
Enjoy your trip to work with lots of laughs thanks to Defo and Lubie. Now on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. A Degenerate Friday. Now thoroughly and completely underway here, as we've already irritated the professor with the content of the show.
The Greek has one bet with the Brady, so he has a weird hard-on for Brady.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tom Brady's kid has a weird hard-on for Brady.
Jesus.
Didn't take long. Clock that in there, Louis.
That was quick.
Professor, how are you?
I mean, I was already having a bad week. If you're a sports fan, this is the worst week of the year.
Yes,
every year where I got to pretend like I give a shit about the ESPYs and
the All-Star game.
Where like the biggest sports conversation on Twitter for an entire day was, did the 3-point chucker girl from Iowa deserve the breakthrough athlete award more than the black girl basketball player who stopped her? Like, that was an actual topic.
Is that right? Wow. I thought neither of those were deserving winners.
I got to deal with the freaking ESPYs. And again, the worst sports week of the year of the week of the baseball All-Star game. And I tune in here. What do I hear? I hear that the slurp, slurp, slurp on Tom Brady Love Fest.
I would not agree with the Greeks' premise, though, that Brady would have made the Dolphins a better team.
No.
I think that they're far better off taking a shot with the suspect, head of Tua Tagovailoa at this point than they would have been with Brady, and they would have been stuck with him for a couple of years, and nothing would have happened.
No, he's done.
Whatever.
Get the fuck there.
What was Affleck at the ESPYs? What was that part of the reason?
Probably.
Yeah.
I can watch the ESPYs.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't really think. When do you think the last time I watched the fucking ESPYs?
I would imagine,
honestly, is there anything more pointless in American society than awards shows? Every time I don't care if it's the Country Music Awards, if it's the Grammys, if it's the Emmys, if it's the Oscars, anytime I tune that in, I have thoughts like, You know, the terrorists might be kind of right about it.
Yes, this would be the time to
Like,
attack.
We kind of deserve to get bombed, to be brutally honest. Just because, like, a quarter of our society has dedicated themselves to idiot celebrities and the worst M's. This is actually the 25th anniversary of the time Norm Macdonald hosted it, which is the last time anybody decent hosted it. Like, after that, after Norm Macdonald went on and did a bunch of OJ jokes and was actually funny, that ESPN was like, well, we can't have that anymore. We can't
that
have
didn't go over well.
an
That was a
entertaining
brick.
host.
Yeah.
Somebody called Billy Crystal.
Was Pat McAfee actually the host for his 100 million?
Lubie and I were actually discussing this the other day. Like, because he dresses the same for everything, which is to say he dresses
Is he
like
competing
the
for a
guy-
wrestling title? What is that belt?
He dresses like the guy who's buying the Cable Guy DVDs in your local gas station. I can't tell what he's hosting or what he's involved in because he's always in a tank top and those
a
cut-off
jacket.
girl shorts.
Girl
Yeah.
shorts.
With a sports jacket. My favorite look. I mean, very self-sanctimonious, the ESPYs. I never was so happy. My power went out as I was flipping channels, and I thought, well, let me just watch this for a few minutes and see if I can tolerate it or if it's changed any for the better. And then I had a blackout here, and I never was so happy to be Aaron Rodgers. I even took a psilocybin mushroom and contemplated, what I'm going to do with the rest
Better
of
than
my life
actually watching it. Yeah.
And it was out until it was finished.
I don't
It was
understand
great.
why ESPN continues with this thing because, number one, there's
They're making
there's
a
never
fortune
any
on it, I'm
ratings.
sure.
The ratings are, and it's got to be expensive as hell. And like you have a pack of those 30 for 30 movies are great. So, okay, so
Yes.
for 2 days, we're just going to blow out the 30 for 30 movies. Like, we don't have sports for 2 days. So instead of this stupid awards show that nobody watches, that always features like a couple of things that just anger your viewers. And this,
Absolutely.
by the way, in a time where your ratings are slipping because you've gone a little too political, you've done a little too much nonsense and pissed people off. We're going to piss people off more by giving some weirdo the Courage Award, and then we're going to have fights about which girls basketball player deserved this award more. It's the stupidest programming idea in the history of. I mean, no wonder ESPN had to fire. You've had to fire everybody like a week ago.
Well, and at the same time, they were bringing on this high-priced talent in Pat McAfee, which what exactly is he going to do there? I know he was already on the ESPN Game Day show, which I enjoy that program. Although I don't know, what's your feeling about the Game Day show on
It's much
ESPN?
better
You're a
than
big
the Fox
college
show.
football guy.
I mean, look, it's not a good show, but when the other alternative is like Urban Meyer and Clay Travis,
Yeah.
like I feel like Fox has actually made ESPN must-watch TV because the Fox philosophy it's Brady Quinn and Urban Meyer and Matt Leinart. It was honestly like someone at Fox was like, let's get all the most dislikable people we can find.
A-Rod is one of their big guys.
And stick them on the same college football show.
A-Rod and Jeter on the baseball show, a guy who's never said a thing in his life that was even of the slightest level of interest, and a guy that's a complete fraud. And that's their two guys on the baseball show.
Honestly, I hope this Bob Huggins situation works out quickly because he'd be an excellent addition to that Fox college football.
Now, what's the scoop there? Did he resign? Did he not? I mean, you follow this stuff.
Apparently, since his blood alcohol level was like 0.30, I don't think he really knows if he resigned or not.
Wouldn't that come into question whether he was aware of what he was saying?
Yeah, I mean, again, let's remember, for some reason, he got pulled over in front of a Pittsburgh arena where a Taylor Swift show was going on. So it seems like there's a reasonable chance that Bob Huggins had like 40 beers at a Taylor Swift concert and then decide to leave early and drive. So what the hell is going on with Bob Huggins at this point in his life? I don't have any good answers to.
No, and they were quick to. Well, I mean, originally they did almost nothing, right? Before this DUI incident, he had the thing with the stuff he was saying, very homophobic stuff he was saying on the radio voluntarily.
Well, no, he called Notre Dame a gay slur, and everybody agreed with him. So they let that go.
Yeah, I mean, he's not wrong.
This is coming from a guy who was the original to point out that Rudy was
But
offside.
then everybody was like, Bob, it's a little weird to go pound beers at a Taylor Swift concert and then jump in the car. It's kind of strange behavior for a 70-year-old dude.
I just remember the time Leslie Visser got him to do an interview with us about 9 in the morning one day when we were on 640 in Radio Purgatory, and we were all excited about it. Thought, wow, this is a very successful and interesting college basketball coach in terms of his
all of
concepts.
Which is true. He is that.
Yeah, and very much like who was the guy that just checked out in football? He was always a strange cat. He coached at Washington.
Mike Leach.
Yeah, Leach. Would you say that is a fair comparison? That he's
no,
somewhat of a Mike Leach?
No, not in the least.
Gruff.
No.
Huggins is just gruff. He's
in
not
terms
rude.
of innovation. I mean, and maybe doing
Not
things
really,
a little
because
differently.
Leach legitimately was part of an offensive revolution with the air raid, whereas Huggins just kind of brought the press back.
Yeah.
I mean, look, there's no secret to Huggins. Huggins got over in Cincinnati because he recruited dudes that academically nobody else would take. Again, let's remember the man was at Cincinnati for like 20 years. Literally, when he left, had 0 graduations.
Lloyd Daniels was Mensa compared to some of his
in
players.
the history of his tenure at the University of Cincinnati, literally 0 players graduated. When the NCAA debuted its APR report, the annual graduation rate, the Cincinnati basketball graduation rate was literally a 0. So it's not a secret what Bob Huggins was doing. But that sort of similar personalities, although Leach was sort of kind of out there and interesting, and Huggins was just sort of
gruff.
The kind of guy who likes to drink 40 beers.
I'll never forget
Huggins
when
was
he came
like
on.
your drunken, abusive grandfather who everybody loved, but still, there's some personality issues.
You wish maybe he'd get some of that drinking in check. I remember he came on and he had to be completely out of it. You thought he was calling in from some gutter, across the street from the courthouse in Queens.
He very well might have been. It might have been calling from the porthole.
Like,
he might have been calling from the porthole in Pompano.
All right, Professor. I mean, we had the Black Wednesday, although there were some things on the slate there after the All-Star game.
Isn't it just like a black week? I mean, you start out on Monday with nothing to gamble on except the goddamn home run derby, which is, we'll get to that in the big board. It's now the worst event in sports. Then the All-Star game, which I guess is kind of turning like a pitcher fest. The pitchers are kind of dominant now, so it's kind of boring, and it's like every other game. It's decided by one random 2-run home run mixed into the middle there. Yeah. Although I thought it was interesting that at this point, the All-Star game is now so boring that like every umpire on the field can't figure out a ball that is clearly foul, like 6 feet foul is an obvious foul. And, home run. Hey, we need some scoring here. Round trip. Let's let that go. And then you get into like 2 days where it's nothing but the WNBA and Wimbledon.
Well, Wimby, I'm a fan of. I don't know.
I know you like to watch it, but I don't know how many people are out there like talking about Wimbledon action.
You could bet some matches. Actually, it seems like if you're on top of it, you can make a score. It might be something you want to explore.
Because I feel like tennis is a chalker sport, and every time I look at a number, it's always like Djokovic minus 1,600 to win this match. So and so minus 660.
Yeah,
you definitely have to pick the big bomber upset to
earlier in the tournament, though. You might be able to find something. Actually, the column that I always like to reference because they're dead wrong most of the time. The tennis analyst had a very good play in the first round of the tournament and picked this scrub that I never heard of to knock off. I believe it was Dominic Thiem or one of these guys that had a little bit of a name and was a big favorite. And sure enough, he was right. Oh, it was Casper Ruud, the guy that Casper Ruud, the guy who was like in a couple of finals.
That sounds like a made-up character name.
Doesn't it sound like the guy in Face Off? Yeah,
Casper Ruud sounds like the name of the vice president in a movie about like the president being kidnapped. Or something.
Was that the
Nick
Cage character in Face Off?
Obvious
Casper
name where
Ruud?
at the end of the movie he's going to turn out to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Sounds like Nick Cage's name in Con
Give
Air.
it away with the name.
Sounds like a character in Con Air. Yeah, you're right.
Yes, again, yeah.
Like it's
One of the
Malkovich.
random like rapist who was going to be fighting against Nick Cage in Con Air Part 2.
Yeah. Now, this guy's a good
Even
player,
Con
and
Air.
you're thinking, but the guy made a very valid analytical case. And usually it ends up with you fucking up your money, but you know that this guy's not good on the grass. And this scrub unknown that he was playing that was getting almost 4-1, or you were getting 4-1 on this guy was going to have a chance to beat him, and he did. So there are opportunities.
Is that like the American Hope, the tall, skinny black guy who doesn't look like he's had a meal in like 6 weeks?
Chris Eubanks, yeah,
that's right, Chris Eubanks, Bob's bastard son.
He might have been, he might have been getting some prices early in the tournament there, and he was coming off a pretty good run, and is a guy that is a name that hasn't really come into enough prominence for the general public to catch on that this guy was alive, with a shot to beat somebody good. All right, so what did you end up? You're not into the Canadian Football League at all, Professor? I've never heard you lay out a bet on like the Alouettes.
Football League, no.
Well, wouldn't that be a more significant level of football though than like the USFL, or is it just easier to pick USFL?
Again, I don't really care about the USFL or the XFL or even Aussie rules. We've just sort of backed in and had a run of ridiculously good luck in these stupid sports. So you stick with them.
Are you still betting Korean baseball?
It's not like I'm one of these guys on Proline or those shows you grew up admiring. I don't pretend I actually know anything about it. I'm very upfront that we've just been ridiculously lucky talking out our ass about these sports.
All right, what are you inclined to wager on coming up this week, if anything?
Actually, if we're going to talk about that, we're going to get into handicapping. It's really a weak card in Aussie rules football this week. There's only 3 games left on the card after this morning's action. So we thought we'd give a quick look because I don't know if you have gotten your copy yet, but Lord Steele's guide, Phil Steele's College Football Annual, came out this week, and I did get my copy on Monday. So I have been going over that and looking at some futures, and I thought we might talk a little bit about the Heisman Trophy futures because that's one of the things I looked at this week.
All right.
With Caleb Williams, USC's Caleb Williams coming in as a huge favorite, plus 500 to take the trophy. I will tell you, I don't think he's going to win the Heisman for the second year in a row. I think this is a time to go off the board. We all know how difficult it is to win a second Heisman Trophy. Even Tim Tebow couldn't accomplish it as much as they wanted to give him every award in the history of humanity. Look, both Johnny Manziel and Jameis Winston won the award as freshmen. Probably both had better second seasons than they had first seasons and never got close again. Heisman voters just do not want to give a second trophy to anybody not named Archie Griffin.
Right.
And then you look at it, USC's first 4 games of the year all figure to be huge blowouts. I don't know that Caleb Williams is going to play in the fourth quarter of as many games as he played last year when USC had a historically bad defense. I think USC is going to see a lot more third quarters that are 42-0, 49-7. The games they saw last year was 49-35, 42-28, and Caleb Williams had to keep playing. So I think there's a pretty good chance his numbers will be down. And then you look at the Pac-12. Caleb Williams is coming back. Bo Nix is coming back. Michael Penix Jr. is coming back. Cam Rising is coming back at Utah. The Pac-12 could be incredibly competitive this year. You could see a 3 or 4 loss team end up with the Pac-12 title. So USC, in my opinion, could be deep out of the playoffs come November or December. I don't think Caleb Williams' campaign is – if we were talking who's going to be the number 1 NFL draft pick, absolutely go with Caleb Williams. That's about a 99.8% chance there. But in terms of the Heisman, I think he's a false favorite sitting there at plus 500. And then you get going down the list. Right now, must have taken some action over the last couple of days because Lubie's man Jordan Travis sitting at plus 1,200, the second pick, tied with Jaden Daniels as now the second pick at plus 1,200. Again, 2 guys. I think both guys have potential, but I don't think either guy's going to have the stats to win the Heisman. Neither one of them are going to end up with the ridiculous stats in here. It's going to have to be team success. So you'd have to be looking at LSU either winning the SEC or Florida State pretty much being undefeated coming out of the ACC for one of those 2 to get it. I think it's a great year to kind of go off the board a little bit and start looking at some guys at deep shots. I will tell you a couple names I'm looking at. Number 1, Braylon Allen, the running back out of Wisconsin, 6'2", 240-pound Ron Dame type running back who's had 1,200 yards in each of his last couple of years. Secret with this kid is he actually catches the ball pretty well. He's already caught 50 passes in 2 years, which is a lot for a Wisconsin running back. And I look for Wisconsin to be a much more wide open offense this year. 4 returning starters on the offensive line. SMU quarterback Tanner Mordecai's a transfer, threw 75 touchdown passes in SMU the last 2 years. New coach Luke Fickell. I think you're going to see a different Wisconsin offense. You combine that with a home schedule. They play nothing except Ohio State in their own yard this year. They play Ohio State at home. It's the only game Wisconsin has all year long. I would not be surprised if they're 9-0 and in the playoff picture heading to that game. Braylon Allen sitting there 70-1. I think an excellent way off the board chance. Second guy I would say, because I think this team's got a shot at a big rebound year, that would be Jordan Shipley out of Clemson. We all know America loves white running backs. Toby Gerhart. No, look, part of your Heisman, I'm not even saying this from a racist perspective.
Yeah.
Part of your Heisman story is the narrative, and people love something that's different about a Heisman candidate. White running back fits right in. You don't see a lot of them, particularly at prime schools. Toby Gerhart ran the white running back thing all the way to a second place finish back in 2009. Christian McCaffrey was arguably like the 5th or 6th best running back in college, finished second in the Heisman voting. Jordan Shipley, in theory, could have a very interesting year here at Clemson after defense is completely focused on him last year with the struggles at the quarterback position with DJ Ungalalele. Now has Clay Kubnik playing quarterback. It's going to bring a different level of mobility at the position. Probably haven't seen a guy like him at the position in Clemson since Deshaun Watson. That changes the angles for linebackers. It makes defensive linemen play differently when they actually have to respect the quarterback run game, which they have not had to do for a few years. Yes, Trevor Lawrence could run. We saw that in the bowl game, but he didn't like to do it as a top NFL draft pick. He didn't want to take the hit. And DJ, as fast as he is in a 40 time, just had no mobility, so he was an easy target because he's the size of a battleship. Won't be the case in Clemson. I think that'll open up a lot of lanes this year. Also, 4 returning starters on the offensive line. The wide receiver talent is actually a little bit questionable, but that could play well for Shipley in terms of catching passes. So sitting there at 50-1, another guy I think has a shot. I think you want to go kind of off the board with the Heisman futures this year. I don't really like any of the favorites. The one favorite I would make a note at, there is some chance here. If you look at Texas, there's kind of a lot of similar notes between this year's Texas team and the 2019 LSU Tigers in terms of what they bring in. And Quinn Ewers is a monster guy in terms of arm talent. He has the type of arm talent that ends up in like a top 3 NFL draft pick every year. He's got a Matthew Stafford kind of arm. So I would kind of keep my eye on him. There is a chance he has a huge Joe Burrow-like breakout season for the University of Texas this year. He's the only one on the favorite among the favorites I would even consider playing. Otherwise, I would look going deep off the board and maybe even consider a running back for the first time in a while.
Excellent stuff, as always, Professor. And 50 and 70-1, you only have to be right, every other half century. And
you don't even have to be, honestly, you don't even have to be right because you get into like week 8, week 10 with a ticket that's live at 50 or 71. You can turn around and sell your ticket.
Sure.
So
sell it off.
Makes some sense to me. Yeah, you know me. Being Jewish, the first thing we think about, I tried to hedge off at my bar mitzvah.
How do you hedge?
All right, are we ready for it? The big board already. You've tweaked my interest as always, but especially so with the reference to the ESPYs and lousy sporting events. So we'll let you unveil this week's edition of the Professor's Big Board.
Well, we were coming off a big board investigation last week that we were sorry you missed, Defo, as the Secret Service is now covering up Jackson Mahomes bringing cocaine into the White House, which I think we pretty conclusively proved here on the big board last week.
100%.
Here at the big board, one of the things we like to celebrate is what is just completely awful about the world of sports.
Yes.
And there is nothing more awful than this week in the world of sports. So that led us to a very natural, which is the big board of the slowest sports news week of the year. And so we're going to cover all the big stories that came out. And actually, for a nothing sports week, we did actually have a pretty interesting week.
Some wild stuff, yes, for sure.
And this starts with number 5. I like my screwy sports. And for some reason, when I wake up, usually because I'm drunk in the middle of the night, I seem to catch this sport over and over again on ESPN. I don't know how. But it seems like if this sport is on at like 3:30 in the morning, somehow I will wake up in the middle of the night to catch it. And that is Green Bay Packers running back Aaron Jones is heading to the national championship of cornholing.
I've been catching an inordinate amount of cornholing lately.
I don't know how I managed to always catch cornhole. It's the new lumberjack competition. It used to be when I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. It was always in the middle of a lumberjack competition.
Right.
Now it seems like every time I wake up at 2:30 in the morning, it's cornhole. So we have here running back Aaron Jones, who's establishing his post-playing career. He's decided he's not getting that Tom Brady $400 million to work for Fox contract. So he is going to establish his future in the sport of mixed doubles cornholing, where he has now advanced to the national championship. I got to say, I didn't even know that they had a national championship for mixed doubles cornholing, but I enjoy the fact that it is a Green Bay Packers running back who has made the national championship here, and the event is apparently sponsored by Johnson Hole Brats, which honestly – Johnson Hole Bratwurst is pretty much the perfect sponsor for cornholing anyway, because what's the only time to play cornhole except at a tailgate while you're grilling up some bratwurst and some hamburgers?
That's it. Yeah,
hot
for
dogs.
sure.
And a Green Bay player. It does make me suspect if perhaps the fix was in here. Like, if any
dumbass
Green Bay
game
Packers
too. I
player
mean, absolutely
who entered
ridiculous.
was going to win this. You did have to wonder about the legitimacy of an event sponsored by Johnsonville Brats from Johnsonville, Wisconsin, and a Green Bay Packers player winning it.
It is incredible, though. I mean, the rare occasion where I've been roped into a cornhole game, I would say of the 4 bags, I'm lucky if one of mine actually is on the board itself. And these guys just make shot after shot. I mean, they never miss. It's pretty incredible to watch. I didn't realize they had a professional league. Jim Sarney, our good friend, would be saying that we neglected again to mention women's professional cornholing.
I just said it's mixed doubles. His partner's a woman.
You get women.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, well, at least you
I have no idea who the woman is. I assume it's some chick from Waukesha that he picked up in the parking lot. But
weird thing. Yeah, it's a weird thing to be good at. There's no question.
Aaron Jones says, well, again, you had Mookie Betts from the Dodgers made the National Bowling Championship a few years back. Like, dudes are branching out into other sports, including apparently cornhole.
Yeah, total desperation. I found myself actually fixing on it for a few minutes, trying to figure out what it is that made this worthy of being on television. And I still am trying to figure that one out. All right, that's number 4. Cheesehead cornholes.
Number 4 is
that's number 5. That's number 5. Here's number 4.
Number 4 is our annual story of the year, where someone in college football has to do something dastardly and make every crabby old white hit man in America upset that they had to pay a consequence for it. And that is Pat Fitzgerald fired at Northwestern for the quote-unquote hazing incident. And if you have not read the details on this, you should, because what Northwestern was calling hazing was gay gang rape. Like,
they're saying it was embellished. I don't know what
the accusation is that if a player, particularly a freshman, screwed up in practice, he would be stripped naked in the locker room and all the upperclassmen would dry hump him. Well, I don't know if I'm the only one who's ever seen a prison movie, but that's not hazing. That's shower rape. Like,
that's Shawshank Redemption, my friend.
Okay with this. And there are tons of dudes, including South Florida's own Danny Cannell, who, since he got fired from the radio, has turned increasingly to a crabby old man, who wants to defend Pat Fitzgerald for this and say everybody on the internet ganged up on Pat Fitzgerald. No, Pat Fitzgerald were ganging up on other players in the shower. It's no wonder Northwestern was 1-11 last year and 3-9 the year before that. Half the team's worried about getting raped, and the other half of the team is anxious to do some raping after practices. Like, that does not sound like a winning environment to me. I don't know. Like, well, kids today are soft. Back in my day, well, how many rapes did you take back in your day?
Not a favorable thing after practice. You're thinking maybe go have a beer instead? Yeah.
Okay, look, we're going to flash back to a show Lubie and I did. The Marvin Jones show, which we did for about 4 or 5 years down here with the Florida State great Marvin Jones. We had Brad Johnson on one time, and Brad Johnson told us a story about how he hid in his dorm room for 3 days because he accidentally poured a cup of ice on Marvin Jones and heard Marvin scream, "What the fuck?" and got so scared that he didn't go to class for 3 days. He hid out in his apartment for 3 days because he was afraid Marvin was going to kill him. Imagine the dude that gang raped Marvin, what he had to worry about. If that's what was going on, like if you're worried about a cup of ice, how scared are you if you're a dude who dries humps somebody in the locker room? I don't think this is like an old school thing. I think this is pretty unique to Northwestern, and I think Pat Fitzgerald very much deserved to get fired.
Of course, he knew nothing about it, was unaware. One of his assistants, they kept all the assistants, so it went straight to the top, this whole concept, and they promoted this guy, Braun, to be the interim head coach. They also, yesterday, I guess, fired their baseball coach for, I don't think they were gang raping the, backup catcher, but, after a pass ball, but it was also considered to be a very toxic environment that he was presiding over. So a lot of problems. Isn't that supposed to be like an intellectual school?
Yes,
Northwestern
school, Northwestern journalism wise.
This is what's going on there. Wow. I mean,
we have to get the great Brent Musburger on to talk about old school Northwestern hazing.
Joe Foster was the name of the baseball coach, no longer there. All right, that's number 4. If that's only number 4 in what was a slow week of news, as you said, Professor, then the top 3 have to be real dandies.
Number 3 is, again, the worst sporting event of the year, the most unwatchable sporting event of the year. And basically, it's all because of one man, which causes, let's just say, a great divide among our social group because we got a lot of Mets fans. And that's Fatso McGatorface has absolutely ruined the home run derby. It is totally unwatchable now, all because of Pete Alonso and his cheating. For those who do not remember, back in 2019, when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. should have won the home run derby, he lost it because in the middle of the final round, Pete Alonso's uncle, who was pitching to him, ignored the rules and just started firing balls as fast as he could when the rules say you're supposed to let the home run land and then throw the next pitch. Well, Fatso here didn't want to listen to it, and then he and his uncle cheated their way to his first home run derby title. Since then, Fatso McGatorface has become so widespread with the cheating that they legalized the cheating now. And I don't know if you watched any of this year, but the TV cameras can't even keep up with the home runs. You don't even get to see where the balls land. You don't get to see the ball smash a kid in the outfield in the face going 100. All you see is the kid down on the ground rolling around. All the most enjoyable parts. So congratulations, Fatso McGatorface, with your stupid chain and your wrestling belt. You have completely destroyed this version of the home run derby, and they got to go back to the 10 outs next year. They can't do this. Let's see who can cheat the most to win their way into a national championship. Congratulations, Pete Alonso. You completely destroyed the home run derby. It's total unwatchable garbage right now, and it is 100% your fault.
That's a weird setup, too, where they have the 30 little kids in left field. and off the bat of a major league hitter, you would imagine that this is a little different than the balls that they're shagging in Little League, that come off the fungo bat of some guy who's selling real estate.
I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great idea. It's like, let's combine the home run derby with a strong element of potential death.
The kids never catch it. They always miss the ball.
Because, it's weird. Yeah, it's coming at you like nothing you've ever seen before.
Because honestly, around this time of year, another event at this time of the year, the Little League World Series is coming up. Isn't it annoying to see little kids who are all this good, where they're like competently doing double plays, and the catcher's throwing out guys at first base from his knees, and they're like 12 years old, and you're sick of it. You're like, no little kid should be this good at something. It's sickening. I don't watch Little League for this. I watch Little League for the throw where the guy throws it 30 feet over the head of the first baseman and it ends up in your beer in the third row. That's why I watch Little League. So, no, I love watching the home run derby. 30 kids who have no idea what the hell they're doing out in left field, running into each other, getting smacked in the head with the ball.
Ball ricochets off the wall, takes out 2 6-year-olds. No, it's great.
No, nobody wants to watch 12-year-old Allen Iverson play basketball. All that does is make you bitter that, oh my God, this kid's better at 12 than I was at 26.
You'll be happy to know, and your voice haunts me whenever I'm betting my baseball parlays there in Atlantic City, or the rare time that I get involved in that sort of activity. And of course, I lose a 3-teamer when a Cardinals pitcher threw the ball into right field as he allows 2 Marlins runs to score. And that was the finishing touch on what would have been a 3-team parlay cash the first day that I was in Atlantic City. Yeah, so the Little League play is always greatly appreciated. That's for sure. All right.
Yeah, that's why you watch youth sports, is to watch kids be
Completely
totally
inept. Yeah, you don't want to see Danny Almonte, looking
fun.
like Sandy Koufax out there.
Combine that with major leaguers hitting, line drives with 138 mile an hour exit velocities, and you have a recipe for disaster that's completely
scalding, hooking line drive, and it's heading for those 9-year-olds that are in left field. It's great. All right, that's number 3. Fatso McGatorface ruining the home run derby.
Number 2, and we don't want to pat ourselves on the back around here. We don't do this for credit, but we do this to try to educate America in concerns around sporting topics. And something came up this weekend at a UFC fight where one Donald Trump was in attendance, and a bunch of celebrities came up and made niceties with the former president. And now the entire internet is out to get Guy Fieri and Mark Wahlberg for making nice with Donald Trump at UFC 290 or whatever it was out in Las Vegas. Where's my credit, people? Where are the people you want to boycott Mark Wahlberg and Guy Fieri? Where's the credit for those of us who have been boycotting Mark Wahlberg and Guy Fieri for 20 years, not for shaking hands with Donald Trump because their music and their movies and their food is all garbage? Where you want to go get Mark Wahlberg and Guy Fieri now, people? We've been trying to tell you about this for 2 years on the big board. A man who looks like a Cheeto and a man who wants everything on earth to be flavored like Cheetos are natural allies. What a shock.
A man who looks like a Cheeto. That you should, trademark that one for sure.
A man who's selling cherry-flavored Bud Light malt liquor. And a man who nails porn stars named Jerry LaCour. They're perfect together. Like, why is any of this a surprise that Mark Wahlberg and Guy Fieri want to hang out with Donald Trump? I mean, at this point, there's not even no point in canceling Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson canceled himself like 15 years ago, and I don't even know what the level of garbage movies he's doing. I see them advertised every once in a while on like Netflix. And it's like, oh, Mel Gibson made another movie that nobody will watch.
Yeah.
So him, I'm not even focusing on. But really, there's no bad reason to want to cancel Mark Wahlberg and Guy Fieri, is what I'm saying here. So go ahead, America. If you want to do it because they shook hands with Donald Trump, do it. Whatever it is that gets rid of those two is absolutely okay. But I'd like to point out, much like Doug Flutie, much like Fatso McGatorface, and a few others, we've been trying to get you to cancel these people for years, but now you want to do it.
I love when Frank Thomas looks at the woman at the end of those commercials with Flutie and says, and she's going to like it too. As if he was going to give it to her himself. I mean, just while he's gargling with this stuff that makes his dick hard. What is it? I don't know. It's, some kind of testosterone thing.
Again, it's like the most unlikely run of endorsement. Who I don't think anybody in Frank Thomas's camp, when they first signed up for that, is like, you know what? This is going to be like a 12-year campaign.
He's had this longer than Phil Swift has been hawking Flex Seal.
Honestly, it's like when Lubie and I got hired for the Landlubbers gig, and Lubie told me about it. It was like, do you want to do it? I figured that's like a 6-week gig. We're now, I think, past the 2-year mark and headed into year 3.
Quite a turnout last night. I heard the Chronics were victorious.
Like 14 teams.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Unbelievable, man. You have more teams in the MLS.
We'll have to make sure to get them next week.
They have Messi in the league, right? They're going to expand to 50 teams pretty soon, I think, so that they can pay his tab. All right, that's number 2. Well, with the Trumpster, always good, and always good for any kind of dissertation that is lending itself to comedy. What is number 1 on the big board of slow sports week topics?
Well, of course, because an event is coming up, and it's her only chance to annoy the shit out of America. Megan Rapinoe had to take advantage. So in the words of Peter Griffin, shut up, Meg.
Classic, yeah.
For those of you who missed it, Megan Rapinoe came out and announced her retirement. Then the next day at a press conference, told everybody that she felt she had to announce her retirement because it was for the good of the team, so they wouldn't have to answer any more questions about the retirement of Megan Rapinoe. Yes, let's remember, this woman was added to the team like a week before the World Cup roster was announced. She wasn't going to be on the team. She's not one of the top players anymore. Nobody cares. She had to do something to grab attention. So what does she do? She does an interview with Time Magazine where, among other things, she says that comedian Dave Chappelle doing jokes, quote, causes violence against transgender individuals. Yeah. That's right. Megan Rapinoe thinks that Dave Chappelle has caused violence against transsexual or transgenders by telling jokes. Number one.
Doesn't even for violence.
Look, there's the famous Mark Twain quote, never start a fight with a man who buys ink by the barrel. Yeah, I don't think Dave Chappelle is the person you want to start a war of words with, Meg. It didn't work out for Will Smith if you saw that last Chris Rock concert, and I don't think it's going to work out for you. I imagine at some point we are going to get the Dave Chappelle response. It'll probably be like a year from now. He probably won't do it quickly. And my guess is you're going to realize I picked the exact wrong person to pick. Like, honestly, stick to like the Clay Travises of the world. Like, this is not going to turn out well for you in the least. Secondly, can we just be done as Americans with Megan Rapinoe at this point? Like the hair,
the whole thing,
like,
yeah.
I saw I actually watched the last
She was never that good.
You were like Messi in this World Cup. All you did was kick penalty kicks. Like, I'm sorry, I don't know why kicking penalty kicks is such a big freaking deal for soccer people. As far as I'm concerned, watching it, it looks pretty freaking easy. The net is the size of two 18-wheelers lined up together. And usually the goalie goes diving out of the way like 5 seconds before you actually kick. Like, they show you just kick it here because they're going to dive over here, and all you have the whole rest of the net.
Well, you can put it right down the middle. I mean, Messi sends those dribblers up the middle. And
honestly, it would be like if you got to shoot free throws against a hoop that's like 3 times the size of a normal hoop. It's not – you want to impress me, make some baskets on that carnival hoop. But no, like, again – penalty kicks, not that impressive. As far as I can tell, that's all Megan Rapinoe's done for like the last decade. And now, you know, from what I've read, I don't know. This is not clearly opinion. She doesn't even belong on the roster. She's been brought back because she has experience, and like 4 girls got hurt. So I don't know. Can we be done? Like, this is the last World Cup. Can we not hear from her ever again after that? Can she just fade into obscurity? Because, like, honestly, most of the rest of these girls, soccer people, have had the decency to go away. You don't hear from Mia Hamm anymore. You don't see like Abby Wambach interviewed. Yeah, yes, Hope Solo can't keep her mouth shut, which probably means that Megan Rapinoe will go in that model. But like the rest of them just vanish. So can we do that? Can you just go away after the next 4 weeks?
It's weird too because she's with Sue Bird, right? Are they married or just they've been together for a while?
I don't know if they. I mean, they're a long time.
I mean,
couple,
and she's so seemingly likable and well admired, and this one is universally despised. Nobody likes her, not even her hairdresser. Unbelievable.
Look at her. She's almost 40.
When she was, getting in the face of those poor little Korean chicks who were down like 13-0 after she scored on a breakaway. And you're thinking, do you really have to rub it in? I mean, and she was celebrating like they just, watched the Gibson home run in the World Series. And you're thinking, not exactly the kind of achievement that you want to be gloating about at that stage.
Look, I don't want to turn into a crabby old white man myself, but it's one thing when you're a 25-year-old going to, a punk rock concert and you dye your hair the color of Tua's jersey. Okay, I get it. Go get a nose ring, go get a face tattoo, whatever. Do your thing. When you're almost 40 and you're doing it, come on. At some point, you got to grow up.
Jewish kid like me from Brooklyn at 72 probably wouldn't look too swift with blue hair, although I'm happy to have any hair on top of my head at this stage. So that's another side of that argument. All right, excellent. Shut Up Meg tops the chart this week. Hardly a slow news week. I almost feel guilty about the fact that, we were kind of disorganized and chaotic all week long in terms of the the way that the material was being presented, because it seemed like, wait a minute, there's nothing definitive going on. But yeah.
But there really was nothing definitive going on. There's just little interesting side stories, like everybody who plays football at Northwestern likes to rape other men.
How is it, though, that this got by the assistants and they were, clear of this, but it all came straight from Fitzgerald?
How is it that you are a head coach who doesn't connect team gang rape with being 1-11? Like, I'm sorry.
I guess he doesn't hang around the locker room. He lets the players be the players.
Look. College sports are college sports. I don't have any problem with hazing, like, sing the team song or whatever. There's light hazing that can be team bonding, but I don't feel like gang rape is a bonding exercise. I don't feel like, oh, now that I've been raped by the team starting linebacker, I feel much closer to him. I want to go out and be part of that on the field of battle. No, I feel like that's the dude who raped me. I'm going to really enjoy it when the Ohio State offensive tackle grinds his face into the ground.
It's only in the interest of higher education.
Again, look, if you're Nick Saban and you're going to the playoffs every year, if you want to let a rape, go ahead. Hey, knock yourself out. The formula is working. But when you're 1-11, I think you have to question the long-term, apparently, hazing process of team gang rape.
All good stuff, Professor. What are you up to this weekend? Anything special or just hanging out?
No, because there's nothing going on this weekend. Just boring regular season Major League Baseball.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. All right. Professor, always great stuff. Another brilliant edition of the Big Board, and we thank you so much for being with us. All right, thanks
you have a good one, guys.
I know the mailman's probably very excited, right?
Oh, Jesus.
Second day of Saratoga, and my friend Big Rich had sent me a text with some what turned out to be completely false news, which Mayo sniffed out. What is that, a cigarette?
What are we doing?
Last drag on a cigarette? What's with the cap?
I don't know. What is going on?
He got a Frisbee on his head.
What the fuck is happening?
And a croissant? What is that?
Well, it's a French theme. I get the French theme.
Oh, French. Okay. French, what?
Having French.
What date is today, Defo?
Is it Bastille Day? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Today is Bastille Day.
You look like a Frenchman. You do.
What does that mean?
What is that mark on your head?
Comment ça va? Très bien.
With anything, weirdo.
Where'd you get the hat?
It's my Boy Scout beret. I was hiding the Boy Scout insignia.
Anymore.
I thought it was Curtis Sliwa coming on the show.
I've got my beret. I've got my cup of black strong coffee. I've got my Gigante cigarette.
Very nice.
You
do look like a bitter Frenchman, yeah.
Where did you get a cigarette?
All right, we're going to come back. Mike Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, going to join us and explain himself in just a moment.
Très bien.
Here on the show.
Bon.
Now that. And we'll be out at Gulfstream later on today, punching away on Saratoga. Back in a moment. Now that. Did I get a cut of that $29.60 that you picked up, or did you only have it for $1?
$5. I had it for $5. It was almost came back like 14 and change. So I got
beautiful. Yeah,
like 58. Nice. I'll give you $5.80 today. No problem.
I think I should get the first bet free. It's $8.40.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs, unmatched. Steaks, hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
He'll fight Brian Cox in the locker room. He'll challenge Bill Parcells to a verbal shout-out. He'll stare down Johnny Chan while holding pocket twos.
And then he goes
Mike
to
Mayo,
the London
Gambling
Business
Gourmet.
School for the savants.
How about that? Yeah.
I will crush
London
your
School
hopes
of
and dreams
Finance.
with it.
Mike
Oh,
Mayo, the Gambling Gourmet, joins us here.
I do all those things, and I also crush your hopes and dreams with a 3-word text giving you the bad news about game one.
Well, this was particularly brutal, and Michael. I thank you for doing that.
The modern day odd couple, Defo and Lubie, are on now. It is, of course, the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show, a Degenerate Friday, and there have been references to possible Marcel Marceau. You know what? You could play this character if there was a call for somebody to be like an angry, bitter Frenchman. I think Mike Mayo could play the role. By the way, a tennis bloodbath potential underway with Sinner and Djokovic, and Sinner coming up with his second break point already in game number 1. They're smashing the fuck out of the ball, too, early on. All right, Mike Mayo, how are you? You're actually in celebration of Bastille Day. What made you even think of this?
Because it's Bastille Day. It's July 14th. And, and my food writing days, I would always have to write, up stories about pegged to certain themes and days and those silly national food holidays. But this is actually an actual holiday, Bastille Day, huge in France. It obviously marks the day where somebody
they're like version of July 4th.
Yeah, somebody got their head chopped off and everybody ate cake, or I don't even know. But it's a big day, and I used to do a roundup of all the French restaurants. So be expecting the contest today on the lunchbox to be French
restaurant.
Nice. Yeah,
and diminishing brand though here in South Florida. We were talking about that on the lunchbox.
We did talk about it. How it used to be the go-to, date night meal, anniversary meal, special occasion,
implied romance,
a first-time starter when you're trying to get in somebody's pants, and you would take them to the fancy French restaurant, have a nice bottle of wine. Well, there ain't that many more fancy French restaurants, and even the ones that bill themselves as French. There's a place down in Bal Harbor Shops called Les Zoo. It's billed as a French brasserie that's run by the Steven Starr outfit, which is a major conglomerate up and down the East Coast. But you look at their menu, it's like pastas, pizzas, raw bar. It's like not even French. They got the Niçoise salad and a steak frites on the menu, but it's not true French. It's all gone by the wayside, and it seems like everybody goes for Italian these days. So
I believe there was a place, and I think it's out of business now, and that's a relatively recent development. Sage, was that the place?
We love Sage.
Yeah, that would have been a good clue. I've already come up with mine. Let's not go through all the list of bygone French restaurants, but
that place was good, and they had some nice deals there. They did one of those 2-for-1 entree things on like a Monday or a Tuesday night. It was well worth it. Yeah.
Sage, not to be confused with Sage Bagel and Deli in Hallandale near, but Sage French restaurant. Original was up
Fort
on
Lauderdale.
Federal Highway in Fort Lauderdale. They opened up a secondary satellite location in Hollywood on Harrison Street that I actually reviewed for Michelle Bernstein's Check Please South Florida show.
Oh, very nice.
Sage was the restaurant that I offered up. They did a great duck à l'orange, but they closed first in Hollywood, and then Laurent, who was the owner proprietor of Sage in Fort Lauderdale, heard he got sick, he got older, he ended up closing it down, selling it. Fun fact about Sage Fort Lauderdale. Do you know who started off as a chef there?
Tom Tanazzini.
I'm going to give you one hint. Horse lover.
Oh, Joey Esposito, maybe.
Joey. Yeah. Joey worked as a chef at Sage in Fort Lauderdale before opening up Seville. So
I will be seeing Joey tonight, believe it or not.
Really? You're going in?
Heading in there, yes.
Oh, man, I might have to go in there and haunt you, but I'm going to be playing poker tonight. So that's.
I figured you were off the circuit, so no invitation. But
don't ever assume, my friend. I went out to dinner with Dick Steen last night. What a horror show that was.
Yeah, now what's the story? Now, Dick Steen, of course, for the uninitiated that don't follow you on the lunchbox, is at this point just a haunting figure in your life.
Gaining your existence.
Steve Dickstein, which I mean, it's the perfect name. It sounds like the name of our made-up sportscaster that we were using many years ago to just give the scores. Steve Dickstein
without D-I-C-K.
Very opinionated. What's the scoop on this guy?
Look, he's a gregarious guy, and I really like going.
I like him. I mean, he's nothing
a good
but nice
eater.
to me. Yeah.
And we went to check out this new Tex-Mex restaurant up in Delray Beach called Del Fuego, and it's in a spot that's been a fairly jinxed location. I think it's been like 5 different things in the last 10 years, and so they just opened up a couple of weeks ago. And it's run by this guy, its owner, who has like 5 other one of these Del Fuegos up in Long Island, and apparently very successful up there. This one, maybe the less said the better, but it was a fairly uneven meal, and I say maybe the name of the restaurant instead of Del Fuego should be Del Crapo.
Oh, geez. You put that on the Best of Delray app?
It was that bad.
It's not it's not on the, well, I don't know. We're gonna have to have some further discussions. But meanwhile, Dickstein is after a round of appetizers that were, let's say, fairly uninspiring, including
wait, this was yesterday after we were at Gilbert's?
Yes.
And you put on that show?
Yes.
Oh my God.
This is my lifestyle, buddy. This is why I did not take any boxed food home from Gilbert's. And how fantastic was that?
I thought I saw you making off with those desserts, Mike Mayo.
That was a gift that I bestowed. Yeah. I bestowed it on my daughter when she got done off of
By the way, she wants no part of you. I respect that a lot. she goes along with some of your bullshit, but she essentially, I mean, if we could just judge my body language, wants you to go away.
She's once you get in the car.
Yeah, once you get in the car. It was like, once she has her own vehicle, you're finished with her, man. And she's great. I really admired her.
Natalia joined us at that great road show on Wednesday up at Burton Max's, and it was so good seeing Buddha. I'm glad to hear these stories. And I want to get Greek on the lunchbox because he doesn't hold back. He's hammering those cheapskates there who are bitching about $1 for cheese and why do I got to pay for the lettuce and tomato if I don't want the lettuce?
But isn't that easily understandable that if you're getting a cheeseburger, it involves another component that is not cheap either. I mean, and if you're getting, you want some kind of, you don't want them to put Munster on it. So you want something with some kick to it if you're going to get like cheddar cheese. So if it's $1, is that unreasonable?
No.
No, it's
$1 seems
a lot of
places
places now.
For that.
If it's on the menu as burger and add cheese for $1, then you got to pay for the fucking cheese. Okay, and if it's a cheeseburger on the menu, then the cheese is included.
But
there's some specialty burgers that include the cheese. Like when we go to our friend Pat at Shenanigans, he has a great a combo burger with a cheddar and bacon and maybe some sauce, and that is all included in that $15 price.
Yes.
But if you get a basic burger for $12.99, then you have to add the cheese for another $1. That's part of the package. If you don't like that, folks, don't go out.
People want avocado, but they want it for free, right?
Avocados don't grow on trees. Oh wait, they do grow on trees. So
cost money to pick. They cost money to pick.
All right, so you are denouncing this restaurant, but the amazing thing is that you were actually there and ate and participated in it. I couldn't eat anything after that.
I got to go back to back. I got to do these. It's like playing a day-night, double header or whatever it is for these ball players. I'm a pro. I mean, a rapidly expanding pro.
No,
but,
you know what, though? I have to say, you really haven't put on weight in the time that we've been doing this. You haven't been able to drop any, which is understandable, but you haven't really expanded physically that much that we could notice.
We've hit peak Mayo. It just can't expand anymore.
That's it? You're at your limit? Okay.
It might be. But so let me so one of the dishes they had it as an appetizer here was an odd thing where plantains, not tostones, but like the sweet fried plantains, they topped it with like a shrimp that was like a grilled shrimp that had like absolutely no seasoning or flavor. And they just kind of threw that out.
What was the name of this joint again? Kind of dodge it.
No, I'm sorry. If anybody sees, I shouldn't be this unfair with a place. Del Fuego, yeah.
Del Fuego.
See, the owner came in talking smack. He's made a lot of enemies.
Oh, really?
He's ticked off people in the local community.
Always good when you're starting out a thing in the service industry and the hospitality business.
From what I hear, a very arrogant fellow. He's always bragging about that, I guess he was going around saying, I've opened 8 restaurants and none of them have ever failed. And after eating there last night,
he might be sitting on one.
There's always a first.
Holy Hiroshima, man. This thing is a bomb.
So after the round of appetizers that were unappetizing, Dickstein said he didn't want to order a main course. I had the fajitas, which were equally, they come out, usually
fajitas.
Yeah,
usually the plate of the fajitas usually come out and they're sizzling on a hot platter. They were just sitting there languid like they were like last week's chicken. Dickstein, because he wisely, this was one time where he was, ordering correctly instead of the and again the discussion about the end cut. That came up last night because what he did, they offered a burger with their own like Tex-Mex spin on it with avocado and some sort of cotija Mexican cheese, And Dickstein would have none of that. And I said, because he was like, I just want a burger. I was like, well, get the house burger then. No, I don't want any of that. And then he's like going back and forth with this young waitress who is, he's just saying he wants a burger. He doesn't want the Mexican cheese.
Why did you go to a Tex-Mex place?
I don't know.
Because
it's new.
Why didn't he order the hot dog while he was there too?
It's not Tex-Mex at all. And
he just want. He ended up and that's the weird part. We got this black bean and chorizo dip skillet, and it was with a third guy, Greg Weiss, who's a good guy, and he also has a couple of Facebook groups, and he has the other. He's a partner in Best of Del Rey and one of the advisors. It was a good time. We had a lot of laughs, not a lot of good food, but no. And the Dickstein's just a strange cat. When I said just get the the house burger, the Mexican prepared, he's like, no, I want it just with cheese and grilled onions. That's my standard burger. And I was like, well, why don't you just get the end cut of the prime rib too?
Why do you go to?
Maybe order the fish dip while he was at it too. All right.
Anyway.
You just like saying Dickstein like I do. I mean, it just happens to be one of those names that you
He's
can't
a great
avoid.
guy, but he orders fucking weird. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like,
he's a pain in the ass as a
I'm not
customer. He's just like is always he's modifying things.
Yeah.
He's trying to get everything. Like I'm just sitting there like just
no
bring me the
substitution.
fajitas. And bring me the fajitas, and then I'm just gonna just crap all over your
Mustang's like that. Everything's a substitution. She doesn't even know whatever dish she orders. It's a completely different thing by the time it comes out.
All right, enough of this food nonsense.
All right, what do you got?
Get to the meat of the matter?
Saratoga here?
Saratoga. How great is Saratoga?
It was beautiful yesterday. But what's going on there today? I mean, they were hustling supposedly, and it looked like some weather was coming in.
Let's get back to the fake news.
Yeah.
How did this thing originate? The other day,
from my friend Big Rich.
You sent me this tweet saying that racing had been canceled yesterday and today and was going to be made up later in the meet. I sent that around to several people, including
so did I.
A friend, Mark Falsetto from Runway 84, who's a big horse fan, and him and his lovely wife.
Who scoped it out as
Daniela.
bullshit right away.
They're going up to Saratoga next week, but he told his partner Pat Marzano, big horse player and friend of Pat Utter, and Pat had a heart attack.
Oh.
But meanwhile, me, ever the reporter, I was like, this doesn't smell right. I think, I just started checking it out. Check it out, Sid. So I went to other official sources like Naira's Twitter account and the Daily Racing Forum, and Dave Grenig, who is the beat reporter for the Daily Racing Forum at Saratoga. And I checked their feeds, and there was not a peep about it. So I just say that's fake news. And it might have been at one point of the day, maybe somebody took a screenshot of the Naira site with this little banner saying racing had been canceled.
Possible.
Maybe it was under consideration. Somebody jumped the gun on putting it, and somebody grabbed the screenshot, and that's
the reason I circulated it was because normally Big Rich will send me racing information, and it's like from the Pollock Report or Blunt Horse or one of these sources, even Daily Racing Forum, where you're assuming it's accurate. And it always has been, but and so he sent me that. I didn't really check the source or anything. I just saw it and I said, "Wow, that sucks."
That's why you're the radio guy that would run with any rumor.
Well, I mean, only because as I looked at it, I was considering the source. This guy had never sent me anything that was even remotely, reeking of falsehood.
Especially.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. So you trust him?
Yeah, 1,000%. Well, because I didn't really check. I couldn't make it out. I mean, it was so small on my screen. I just
do you
read it.
Trust his tips?
No, but everything he sent me in the past was always, something of significance that actually was true. So I had no reason to question.
Fortunately, it was complete and utter.
Because it was a good day yesterday.
We had racing yesterday, and we hit the early double. Then I got caught up.
Is that we? I mean, like how do you mean we? I mean, it seemed to me
you get 10%.
I get 10%. Okay,
got $59 and change on my
so $5.90. So I got a free 3-horse box, rounding off to 6, Mayo.
So I'm going to give you 6 when I see you. I could even tap it in on my phone, and we'll keep.
I want to bet on your phone, but then I'll never see the cash. So.
No, you'll see the cash. I got cash in my pocket.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Right. And and then I was tied up in the middle races, but I did play the late double, and I'm kicking myself because
you didn't go all with the ninth race.
I loved that AE. My angle. Always bet the also eligibles, especially when they're ridden by Irad Ortiz, the hottest jockey on the planet. And I saw that 8-1 morning line, and I said, I love this 14 horse. He's in the race, and I didn't hit the all button to double. I used the 3 logical horses in $5 doubles. And then, of course, they finished second, third, and fourth behind a 22-1 bomber. The double came back for $100, $200. But I'm not complaining because I did a $10 win place ticket on the 14, and I got my $140.
Beautiful.
And I'm happy.
So you're ahead for
money
the meet.
I've got money in my account today. And I have some horses that I kind of like today. And the beautiful thing about Saratoga is every horse is well met. You could scope through the racing form and say, I love this horse. And then you look down and you see he's 8-1 in the morning line. And what's better than that?
And there's some indicators. I guess that horse in the second race that completed the double was 8-1 morning line. And I was knocked down to 2-1. So there were some people that were in the know. That was a 2-year-old baby race, I think. May or may not have been, but nonetheless, the horse was getting hammered on the board. I sat behind a guy, you'll love this, Mike Mayo, that we call Mr. Chalk. He's always in the same seat at the Borgata Sportsbook in Atlantic City. And he's one of those guys, I guess, we deemed him the northeastern version of Larry the Leaper. I don't know if you're familiar with the Leaper. I used to come on our shows, and is one of those guys that's always around the track with kind of a look on his face like, can you squeeze me a 20? And so this Mr. Chalk, though, I mean, very annoying. You find yourself screaming, even if you don't have an interest in the race, rooting just with all of your emotional fortitude against him. As he is yelling and screaming, come with that one! And you're looking on the board. And I don't know. I mean, only one horse can win the race. We've said it many times. But, it's every time the horse is 3-5. Every single time.
Does he carry a little bottle of milk and magnesia with him and take sips?
He was shoving Pepto-Bismol up his ass, as he was fruiting these chalk-eating pieces of shit home while you're trying every which way, to beat the favorite, which isn't easy.
Well, I am no chalk player, my friend, not at Saratoga, and that's why I'm going to give out a couple of horses.
All right, give us the numbers.
And on the lunchbox later, I'll give.
I hope you'll talk extensively about your various betting episodes on the lunchbox.
I want to bore everybody. No, it's all good. Today's fifth race. I don't even know what it is, but it's I think a bunch of.
I have it here, my friend. Let's see.
Okay, the baby race. I like 2 long shots. I like number 6, Charming Jim. That's 12-1 morning line. I think it's a first-time starter, but it's for the potent combination, I believe, of John.
Fifth race is maiden 3-year-olds and up.
Yeah, so it's
5 on the hook on the turf.
Charming Jim, Mark Hennig trained John Velasquez aboard, first timer. But those two, when they team up, that trainer jockey combo is 60%. They win at a 60%
Charming Jim,
clip.
yes.
So I'm going to use him. And the horse that I kind of really like is a 20-1 shot, number 8, Kid Creasa.
You bypass whiskey and wine, Mr. Food?
No, that horse is a pig, and he's getting bet just because of his connections. He's 8-1. He hasn't run a lick in 3 different races on different surfaces, and I hate him.
10th and 7th, the last 2.
And even though I like the name Whiskey and Wine, and I usually always bet those food and drink ones, Kid Creasa is going to be my kind of key long shot of the day because he's sired by Big Brown. Big Brown loved Saratoga, so I love the babies of Big Brown.
Oh, very good. 20-1.
And 20-1, and I also like it a little bit with the 9 horse. So I'm going to do like 6 and 8s with the 9 and 10. 6, 8, 9, 10 is my numbers there, but the 9. Kathy DeMasi coming in, I think, run some good races at Monmouth. That's one of the 7-2 favorites.
Underrated jockey, Carmouche, in this jockey.
Yeah, so 6 and 8s with the 9 and a little bit of the 10. That's going to be one of my plays. And then the feature race today, the Coronation Cup. Also, I like some long shots. The number 7, Unified Alliance, is a horse that I like at 20-1. For
JJ
reasons
Castellano.
Again, you get Castellano. He's won 2 of the 3 Triple Crown races this year.
He's been hot.
And he's been hot. And I like the fact that Tom Morley usually sends out some well-meant ones. So the 7 horse at 20-1. And then I also like the 8 coming in, again, listed at 8-1, coming in from Maryland. Brittany Russell, the hottest trainer in Maryland. And Bossarati, number 8 at 8-1, has won 3 races in a row. I think it's going to be well met, so I'm going to do a lot of 7-8s in combinations.
Hot because she's winning, or because she looks better than King Leatherberry?
Hot because she's
Okay,
winning.
all right.
She is like on an impressive clip. So I think her barn is doing well, and they're going to come right in to the spa and take the big money in the feature race today with number 8, Bussarod.
All right, we're going to meet you at the track. How about that, Mike Mayo? We'll see you down at 12 o'clock.
I can't wait. I love it. I love these opening days of Saratoga. It's like Christmas and New Year's and all rolled up into one.
All right, sounds good. I love the outfit. Wear that when you meet us later on. What do you think, Lubie? He shows up like that at Gulfstream, then he throws his ass out of there, or they send him back to
He's
Canada.
a weirdo. But we all think he's a weirdo, so I don't think that'll be.
Yeah, that's been established. You would think Mayo would be the sanest of the three of us, no? But he is, uniquely bizarre.
Yeah, he's a different kind of fellow. But
No
I
doubt
look
about it,
forward
yeah.
to our time today at Gulfstream Park, and you should definitely check out the lunchbox at 12 o'clock right here.
Okay, all right, we'll be there on the lunchbox. Louis, you sound like you have to run, or is it that you have to take it down? What's
I'm
it?
fine.
No, you're
I'm
ready to go. All right, we're going to get out of here.
Mayo.
That's our Degenerate Friday for today. We'll see you at 12 o'clock, and thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time as we leave you know that.
The time.
It's 9:03.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my show.